Hi guys, Aris, Hardware Busters International. The EnGenius ECW220S, an upgraded version of the ECW220, is a 2x2 Wi-Fi 6 access point for indoor use focusing on security. An access point is a device that connects to your router through a cable, providing wireless connectivity to your network's devices between each other and the outside world, and of course through your router. Nowadays, most routers also include a radio transmitter, meaning that they have Wi-Fi in plain words. Hence, they can act as a wireless access point. So you might be wondering right now, why get a separate access point? Because access points like the EnGenius ones have way more advanced software than the one that your affordable wireless router has, and more hardware capabilities. In general, for advanced users and in business environments, it is highly preferable to have dedicated routers and dedicated access points instead of two-in-one solutions. This access point is cloud managed so that you can access it from anywhere, but on the other hand, it requires an active internet connection, which won't be an issue for the majority of users. It is equipped with a wireless intrusion prevention system, WIPS radio, and dynamic frequency selection radio detection interfaces. Yeah, all this sounds weird, I know. The first monitors the spectrum and channel utilization, while the former prevents electromagnetic interference with other C-frequency band systems like military radars and satellite communication systems. You never know, you might have a military radar next door, so be prepared. On paper, the ECW220S can reach up to 1200 Mbps in the 5 GHz band and 600 Mbps in the 2.4 GHz band. Its single PoE Ethernet port supports 1 gigabit speeds, and besides the PoE interface, it also has a 12-volt jack. You won't get an adapter or a PoE interface in the bundle, so you need to buy them separately and of course pay more. The protection features include WPA3 and WPA2 AES authentication support, and through the cloud you can configure the device in either access point or mesh modes. There is no limit on the number of access points you can control through the EnGenius cloud. Packaged inside the small box, besides the access point, you will find two ceiling mount bases and compatible screws, and there is also a quick installation guide. And let's take a look at the device now. The top white cover is made of plastic, while the bottom is metallic to absorb heat easier since there is no active cooling. There are 4 internal antennas, 2 for 2.4 GHz and 2 for the 5 GHz band. The dimensions of the access point are compact, and the lack of external antennas might restrict wireless coverage, but it makes the access point small enough to fit anywhere. On the bottom side, besides the PoE Plus Ethernet port and the DC jack, you will also find the always functional reset button. According to EnGenius, the maximum power consumption reaches 12.8 watt, but I will check that with my instruments. At the front, there are 4 LED indicators for power LAN and the radios for 2.4 and 5 GHz. EnGenius now has in its product portfolio PoE Plus injectors, which support up to 2.5 gigabit speeds, while powering up the access point at up to 100 meters distance over a single cable. These devices include surge and short circuit protection features, which are essential, if you ask me, to the well-being of your access point. The most suitable PoE injector for the ECW220S access point is the EPA 506GA, which costs around $30, so you can not call it expensive. Most power adapters, good power adapters, cost about that, so why not take the PoE interface instead? API interface and setup. To register the device to the cloud, you will have to use your smartphone. First, download the EnGenius Cloud to Go application, which is provided for iOS and Android devices, and scan the QR code on the bottom side of the access point. Before the scan process, you have to create an account for the EnGenius Cloud if you don't already have one, and you can monitor and control all of your EnGenius devices from the cloud and not only the ECW220S. From the account that you will create in the EnGenius Cloud, you have access to all of your devices, and you also have complete configuration and monitor options available. You will only get a few options through the local UI and not any setup capabilities. The EnGenius Cloud service allows you to control your devices from everywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection, and these devices, the problem here is that they can be installed all into a network with internet connectivity. Once you log into the EnGenius Cloud, you can access and configure or monitor the access point either through a browser or a smart device, since there are compatible applications for both Android and iOS. There is also a solution for local management, but I will talk about that later. The cloud interface is easy to use, providing at the same time lots of information and capabilities. The best part is that you can monitor and control all of your EnGenius devices through it, so you don't have to log into the local web UI individually, which doesn't provide much. The major con of the cloud interface is that it requires an active internet connection, so this access point is not suitable for off-grid areas. That can be solved. With a Sky key, you can overcome this problem and control your EnGenius devices from local sites as well. The Sky key is not so affordable though, at $100. Another stronger feature of the ECW220S is that it supports the AirGuard system thanks to an extra radio chip. Briefly, the AirGuard continuously monitors the radio spectrum used by the WLAN for unauthorized rogue access points and other wireless threats. It finds them and categorizes them according to the threat level, sending notifications. If a radio channel is jammed, the AirGuard informs the access point for clear channels to continue its operation. Very good system, at least on paper. The AirGuard option is only available in the Pro EnGenius Cloud service, which goes for $50 per year per device. This is not much given the features it offers. Taking apart the compact access point is not challenging, at least for me. You only have to deal with some screws and bam, you have the PCB in clear view. The tricky part now is to remove the RF shields and the antenna connectors without destroying something. The connectors are glued to make things more challenging, so I had to use my thermal gun with caution to remove the black glue and then detach them. The ECW220S uses a quad-core Qualcomm IPQ 6010 clocked at 1.2 GHz. It also has two Samsung modules with 512 GB of total RAM capacity. Another Qualcomm IC controls the LAN port, and the flash storage is provided by MX-IC, and it has 128 MB capacity. For scanning the spectrum, the access point uses a Qualcomm QCA 9889 chip. The other radio chips for the 5 GHz band, a Qualcomm QCN 5052, and for the 2.4 GHz band, a QCN 5051. There is also a Bluetooth MCU, since the access point is equipped with a BLE sensor to scan and obtain information from Bluetooth devices. Test system, I had two client PCs with TP-Link Wi-Fi 6 2x2 cards. Both were installed in the same area and about 12 meters away from the access point with no significant obstacles. a typical office environment. I conducted all tests through a managed gigabit switch first, using as data server an ASUS store NAS filled with 8 data SSDs. Then I conducted the test using the Wi-Fi 6 cards. I used 2 programs to evaluate performance. The first is custom-made. It performs 10 basic file transfer tests and measures the average megabyte per second speed for each. To extract results that are as accurate as possible, I ran all selected tests 10 times and use the average as the final result. The second program now that I use is Disk SPD by Microsoft, a highly flexible storage test tool capable of accurately simulating different workloads. I wrote 2 advanced scripts for this program, one that simulates an online transaction processing system and another that simulates an online analytical processing system. The ECW220S stays a little behind the ECW230 since the latter has more capable hardware. The difference in real-life tests is relatively small though. The significant difference is in the 2-client all-up scenario. Operating temperatures, I used the Fluke IR camera with 640 by 480 pixels thermal resolution to check the access point's temperatures. The access point gets pretty hot since it has no active cooling or beefy heatsinks. The metallic plate underneath gets hot in some areas, reaching up to 65 centigrade in some points. Thankfully, this point is away from your reach, so there won't be any issues if you are not careful. Epilogue. The EnGenius ECW220S Wi-Fi 6 access point costs $300. Yes, it's not so affordable. An EnGenius ECS1008P cloud-managed gigabit PoE switch goes for $170, and an EnGenius EPA 506GA 1 gigabit PoE adapter is listed for $30 to $35. Since the access point comes with no power adapter, you should either get the PoE switch or buy the PoE adapter, which will make things easier. The ECS1008P can support this access point, although it can only deliver up to 15.4 watt per port, and the access point's maximum power consumption is lower than that. The ECW220S might not look impressive on paper with only up to 1800 Mbps combined speed and 2x2 MU-MIMO, but in real-life tests, the difference between the ECW230 with up to 3550 Mbps combined speed and 4x4 MU-MIMO is not significant. So, the theoretical speeds don't mean much, and you should not only pay attention to them, but also look at the software and the protection features that the access point provides. To offer higher performance, the ECW220S scans the spectrum and even has Bluetooth scan options to detect nearby Bluetooth devices, and the AirGuard system looks impressive. Mesh support, yes, we also have that, and this is a trend now for most access points, and I believe that it's a very significant advantage since you can cover very large areas without worrying. You can always upgrade, just add more access points, and EnGenius software makes the control of all access points that you will install and use a breeze. It is very easy to use and is free. Okay, if you want the pro version of the EnGenius software, you have to pay, but $50 per access point per year, it isn't so much given the features that you will have. Pros: high build quality, AirGuard for increased security, decent performance, slim profile and with internal antennas, satisfactory performance in real-life tests, easy to use cloud interface offering lots of functionality, PoE support makes installation easier. Cons: only 2x2 MU-MIMO support, no 160 MHz support, you won't find any cables in the box, Ethernet cables, no power adapter is provided. You have to pay $14 more to get one, or get a PoE injector with $30 to $35, and it doesn't have any SMA connectors to install external antennas should you need more output power. Another review, Hardware Busters International. Subscribe to our channel. We have a Discord server if you want to come in touch with us, and we also have a Patreon page if you want to support us. Stay tuned for more. Bye bye!